What's going on, gang? It's your boy DBGTX, and in a twist of fate, I ended up coming out on a live stream talking about something that kept me up all night, to be honest. I was really looking at a lot of the information I was giving, and when it came right down to it, it seems that a lot of people want to know what is the Jojo's All-Star Battle War roadmap. Now, if you don't know what a roadmap is, I will definitely go ahead and break that down for you guys really quick. Like the name implies, a roadmap essentially shows you where you need to go or what direction you should be heading when it comes down to anything that you're doing. When we talk about roadmaps in fighting games, is what the developers have set in place in order to make the longevity of this game be that much more. Of course, one of the things that they've been doing for their roadmap, for example, is giving us character previews every other day or every day at the beginning of the release and the announcement of Jojo's All-Star Battle War. That's called a roadmap. The developers knowing what direction they want to go with the game. Most fighting games have this. Most video games have this, especially now in the times of 2020, 2022, DLCs, all of that stuff, the era of DLCs. The roadmap used to be in the era at one point was release the game and then buy, let's say, the sequel or buy, the extra content that's actually all compacted into one thing. Nowadays, obviously, you guys know that DLCs are essentially released like in portions and not in complete big packages, a la let's say Skyrim, when Skyrim was dropping their DLCs, which were additions to the grander story, or I don't know, Dragon Quest, etc. Those stories, those additional expansions and such extends the life of the game, and that's usually part of the roadmap plan of the developers. And that's really what they're looking for. They look to see how long that one game can last in the field while people are still buying, purchasing the updates, and so on and so forth. Street Fighter is one of the most notorious games. As you guys can see my shirt, I'm wearing a Street Fighter shirt. But Street Fighter is one of the most notorious games in fighting game history to have so many different versions of one particular Street Fighter. Street Fighter 2 came out and they wanted to do more stuff for Street Fighter 2. In the 90s, there wasn't any internet, so you had to release another version of Street Fighter 2. Then they released another version, but then more consoles came out, so they had to import that version or a newer version, then tweak it to make it better, and of course, make it newer, so on and so forth. So all of this in the 90s was virtually impossible to do with just one game, and it's because of the era. But now that DLCs exist, the internet exists, patches exist, updates exist, the question that we have to ask ourselves, what is JoJo's All-Star Battle War's roadmap? Season 1 has 4 characters, that is right, 4 additional characters that are paid for, not free to play, because there's a roadmap for the free-to-play players as well, which is something that I didn't think I'd ever say in regards to a game like this. But there is a roadmap for the free-to-play players who owned All-Star Battle or are coming in and are going to be getting some free content. So some characters that are going to be coming out in the future are going to be Eyes of Heaven ports, and that's a roadmap for free-to-play players to get more character access outside of the paid DLC characters and all that good stuff. Needless to say, that goes a long way in the grander scheme of a roadmap and being able to keep the player base here for a long time. So now that we understand what a roadmap is and how it plays in a way for JoJo's All-Star Battle, I want to go ahead and break down exactly what we are going to be looking at in Season 1 and also what we could possibly be looking at for Season 2 and so on and so forth. Here in season 1, we are getting 4 different characters, paid characters and whatnot. Those characters are going to be concentrated heavily on the second half of Stone Ocean. That is right, the second half of Stone Ocean. It doesn't mean that all of the characters are going to be from part 6. That is not what we're talking about here. What we are talking about is the fact that with the promotional anime, and this is a roadmap. Again, guys, this is how roadmaps work. If there's some kind of promotional anything happening with JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, that's going to trickle down into the video games. And it makes a sense because you want to promote whatever other content of this particular brand is out there. And the majority of the Western Hemisphere is watching the anime only and don't have access to Steel Ball Run, JoJo Leon, so on and so forth. What ends up happening is that the producers and developers are going to concentrate on that. So, roadmap for season 1 is pretty straightforward. Hey, listen, we're right now with Stone Ocean. We're promoting the shit out of Stone Ocean. We have to go ahead and make sure that the Stone Ocean characters are in the game and are being promoted as heavily as Netflix and other medias are promoting the anime version of JoJo's, right? The biggest difference between this roadmap here and the previous roadmap of All-Star Battle, it's funny because it sounds like I'm doing a comparison video here, but the biggest difference between 1 and 2 happens to be that here we have a roadmap in All-Star Battle R that is going with the anime version before it went with the manga version of the brand. Unfortunately, that lends itself to what they could do and what they can't do. Those things matter to the developers at this point in the game versus how it was back in 2013 when a lot of anime games were just played offline because the online experience was crappy. Season 1 is going to be heavily concentrated. That is right, heavily concentrated on the Part 6 cast, rounding out the Part 6 cast, of course. We're going to get Poochie Made in Heaven for free, part of the free to play roadmap. We also may get an Eyes of Heaven version of Poochie as a free to play player, part of an import from, of course, JoJo's Eyes of Heaven, because they have the asset, so we may get that. We may just get that as part of one of the DLCs, which I will be highly disappointed. I really would feel like you're doing a little too much here. CyberConnect 2 has done it before, and here we are doing it again, but check it. Biggest thing that the developers stated in their roadmap to success to day 1 was no character will be the same. Even if you play with Jotaro Part 4, he's way different than Jotaro Part 3. Dio Brando is different than Dio Part 3. Y'all get the drift. The gameplay, the styles, and everything has been touched on, so that way it's not just a reskin. And that goes a long way, part of a roadmap. Each character that comes out will also have some skins and updates to the game and to the patching and to all that good stuff. We're not going to get all 4 characters in one shot. 4 characters every 2-3 months they'll release a character. So by the end of September, mid-October, end of October, we'll get our first look at the first DLC character alongside with some extra skins and things like that in a system balance after the first month. Then we're looking in January to get our second DLC character, so on and so forth. Then we're looking at further ahead in March to get our third character with patch balances and all that good stuff. Then the final character will probably be dropped sometime around Evo next year or right before Evo, give and take. So that would be between the 8 to 9 month, 10 month time span. And then going into Evo, there will be announcing season 2 of JoJo's All-Star Battle R. At that point, the anime version of JoJo's Stone Ocean will be completed and wrapped up, and Part 7, Steel Ball Run, will be announced. And upon announcement, then Season 2 will be announced at EVO, giving us an insight as to what characters are going to be coming. And of course, we're going to be getting characters from Steel Ball Run, some antagonists, some side characters that were there, and all that good stuff as part of the promotion of Season 2. And then finally teasing us with some kind of character from JoJo Leon to round that second season. Now, the reason why I say that they're going to tease us with a JoJo Leon character, they're going to give us a JoJo Leon character, is because at that point, Steel Ball Run will probably be halfway wrapped up, give and take. So the announcement of Season 3 will come along on the halfway point of Steel Ball Run. If this game has lasted this long at the third season, I'm calling it right now. Listen, at the third season, if this game has lasted this long and has the audience base and does good at EVO for the first season or the second season or whatever, like I said, Dark Horse status right now. Dark Horse status. This game takes over the way I know it can take over, and I can guarantee you guys that a third season will be announced for this game. And on top of that, the thing that we want the most from this game, not characters from Steel Ball Run, not characters from JoJo Leon, not new skins or anything like that. Rollback netcode. Rollback netcode. Rollback netcode. That is the ideal roadmap for this game. The ideal roadmap for this game was already put as a blueprint from Dragon Ball FighterZ. That is the blueprint. If Bandai Namco could do it with Dragon Ball FighterZ, if it generates enough money, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure can get rollback netcode by a third season based off the anime, based off the sales, based off the first 2 seasons of DLC. I'm looking ahead, and that is their ideal roadmap. 2 good seasons of amazing character content, unique characters, people playing this game left and right, and that third season announcement will come with that particular. That's when JoJo's Bizarre Adventure All-Star Battle R is going to completely take off. Into Season 2, people are going to be like, I wish this had rollback netcode, if it had rollback netcode. When that voice booms as loudly as the Dragon Ball FighterZ community, oh yeah, rollback netcode is coming for JoJo's All-Star Battle R. And that is the goal. The goal is for us to be that voice. The goal is for us to continue playing JoJo's All-Star Battle R and push it out there and make sure that what the developers did doesn't just fall flat because someone out in the community decides to figure out a gimmick with 1 or 2 characters and then no one wants to touch the game besides those particular characters, because that's what the meta is. The meta is to play with these 2 characters and do this thing and you win. At that point, yes, the game will definitely flop. Nah, this game, far from flopping, but the roadmap is clear. We have to get through Season 1, which will be heavily pushed by Part 6, and then when we get into Season 2, we're going to go ahead and finally get ourselves our Steel Ball Run content that we surely are looking for. Ultimately, pushing that third season, if we get that third season, we will get what we always wanted from the beginning, which is the rollback netcode and more content from Steel Ball Run, some older characters that were left behind if we haven't gotten them at that point, and finally a look into JoJo Leon's other cast at that point at Season 3. That's all I got in this video. If you guys enjoyed it, y'all already know what to do. Slap the thumbs up, slap the share, hit the sub, continue coming through right here with the JoJo crew. Y'all already know. And I'll catch you guys in my next video. Peace out.